this video, we're going to look at what is Viva Connections. So I'm going to start off by showing you my SharePoint homepage. This is where employees might go to get resources, policy documents, etc. And it sits inside SharePoint as the organization's intranet. Now, more recently, employees have got used to using Microsoft Teams as a way to communicate with the rest of the organization, to chat to each other, to share and work on documents together. But it's quite disconnected from the intranet, and it does mean that employees have to switch between Teams and SharePoint, a browser or the desktop app. So what Viva Connections is it's bringing SharePoint, the SharePoint intranet, into your Teams environment. And we can see here that we've got it set up here. We've called it intranet. We've put our own logo on it, our own company logo. When we click on it, it brings up our intranet from within inside Teams. And I can actually navigate that intranet inside here, and it all works as if we were using SharePoint itself. So it's a great way to keep employees engaged, and if you do have a SharePoint intranet that people might not go to as much as they should be doing, or struggling to find the information because they're in Teams all the time, then this can bring your intranet inside Teams itself and make it much easier for employees to get access to that important information that you publish. So there's a number of ways that you can set this up. It's free to use if you've got your SharePoint licensing and your Teams licensing. Now the first thing you want to do is set up a SharePoint home site. Now this actually isn't connected to Viva Connections at all, but it is really useful and I definitely recommend it. Setting a home page means that when people click on the home button inside the app, so on the Android device, iOS, or if they're using the new Microsoft Global Navigation inside SharePoint, then the home button will go to whatever that home site is. It needs to be a communication site, so it needs to be a modern site, and you can do that with just one line of PowerShell. So if I just scroll down here, see this is the line that you run, and you point that at your communication site that you want to set up. Once you've done that, you can enable the global navigation, but that will be being turned on automatically for you at some point between now and July. And then you can create your Viva Connections app in PowerShell. So this is a bit that's a bit more tricky. You have to make sure you've downloaded the SharePoint management shell, download the Viva Connections PowerShell script. You don't have to do much with it. You can download it. I'll just quickly show you what this looks like. So when you run this, it'll prompt you for a number of questions. So ask you which intranet site you want to link it to, and that'll probably be your home site that you've just set in the previous step. You'll have other things that you need to enter in there as well. And there's a nice guide on the Microsoft documentation page. And this will show you the different choices you've got. So you'll be creating descriptions for your app. That's what's going to appear inside Teams. You'll be creating a link to your privacy policy if you've got one in terms of view. So you could use the Microsoft ones. Your company name and website. Again, those are for the app settings. And then your icon that you want to use in the desktop app and inside the App Store. And you need to prepare these beforehand, really. So create your 192 by 192 colored icon. I've used a PNG and a 32 by 32 pixel, and it's monochrome icon. So what I've done is I created a icon with a transparent background, and it was white with a transparent background. So when it comes to looking at inside Teams, you can see the transparency makes it fit in, and the fact that it's the monochrome, it's just a single color, it just fits in really well with the other Teams icons that you've got. When you run that, it'll create a zip file for you, and this is what you upload into the admin center. So to do this, you log into the Office 365 admin center and you go to the Teams admin center. Now inside here, you've got a section called Teams apps, and you can manage the apps that are deployed in your organization. Now you're going to want to deploy this for everybody and pin it so that it appears automatically on every user's login. So to do that, we just click the upload button. This is where you select your zip file and upload it. and you'll see that I've already uploaded one here called intranets. Once you've done that, you want to go to Setup Policies and pin the app to the top of the page, or wherever you want in that ordering of all the icons. So I've got a global policy here that applies to everybody. That'll be your default, and you can just change that one and it'll change it for everybody. But if you do have different policies for different groups of users, or if you even wanted a different app for different people, then what you can do is you can create your policies here and assign them to individual people. But we're going to just use a global one. And if I scroll down, you can see I've already got it pinned here. But if I hadn't, I just press the Add Apps button, search for it, and then I can add it there. Once it's been added, I can move it up and down in the ordering. So you can move it down or up depending whereabouts you want it on that menu system. And these options here are the same ones that you see when you're inside Teams down the left hand side. They'll also appear in the mobile app, although that's not fully supported quite yet. And when you save this, it might take a few hours to take effect. Users might have to log out of Teams and log back in to see those changes. You'll then have your Viva Connections set up, and you'll be able to access your SharePoint Intranet from within Microsoft Teams.